Yeah.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, bringing you our second FCS game of the week, a game that may be bigger and better than our first game of the week. It is the de facto Ohio Valley Conference Championship game between number 10 Jacksonville State and number 17 Murray State on Sunday. The Gamecocks will be taking on the Racers on Sunday, the winner of this game advancing to the FCS Playoffs. So this is huge, guys. This is such a big game between two very solid teams and programs, and partially surprises in 2021. So we're here to break down everything you need to know about this championship game, and really it is one. Everything you need to know, the background of both these teams, how they got here, the offense, the defense, and who we have winning the Ohio Valley Conference on Sunday afternoon. So you take a look at both of these teams first. They are both 5-1 in conference play. That's why they're playing in this championship game right now. You look at Jacksonville State, overall they're 8-2 on the year. But they played 4 games in the fall. So the stats that we say today, and mostly about what we're talking about today, will be based on their stats of the spring season only, starting in February to now. But they did play 4 games in the fall, and that did include a 19-10 victory over Florida International. And some may say, so what? That's not a big deal. But any time an FCS program takes down an FBS program, I don't care if it's SEC or Conference USA like Florida International, it's a big deal. It's a monumental win for that FCS program. Jacksonville State got the job done in the fall. 5-1 in conference play this year, 5-1 overall. Only loss was to Austin Peay, a game where the Gamecocks committed 6 turnovers and still only lost 13-10. Murray State, on the other hand, the Racers have been a major surprise in 2021. They started the year at 5-0. 5-0 in this spring season. They got their first loss last week, also to Austin Peay. Fell to the Governors 34-31. And it's really unfortunate for the Governors, guys. They beat both Jacksonville State and Murray State, and they're not playing in this championship game because they're 4-2 in conference. So they beat the 2 best teams in the conference, slipped up in some other areas, can't play in the championship game. It's crazy how that works. It really is. It's unfortunate. But we're not here to talk about the Governors. We're here to talk about these 2 teams with a playoff berth on the line. And let's start with the offense, and let's start with the visitors in Jacksonville State. When you look at the Gamecocks, guys, well, the first thing that really stands out to me is how balanced and electric this offense is. Both these teams are very similar on both sides of the ball. But when you look at Jacksonville State, the balance is just unreal. 196.5 passing yards per game, 214 rushing yards per game. The run game is going to be so key for both of these teams on Sunday. When you look at the Gamecocks, guys, the reason that they are so potent on the ground, not through the air, is because they have 3 very capable running backs to get the job done. They have Josh Samuel, 426 yards in the spring season alone. Uriah West, 335 rushing yards in the spring season. Pat Jackson, 226 yards in the spring season. And then they have their quarterback, Zion Webb, who also has shown a little bit of dual threat capabilities to go along with over 1,200 passing yards and 10 touchdowns on the year. So they have 3 running backs that are more than capable of carrying the load. Each of these guys has led the team in rushing in a game this year. And then you have Zion Webb, who's able to get it done on both ends. That's why Jacksonville State is so difficult to stop. That's why they're so difficult to stop. You don't know what running back you're going up against, what their capabilities are, and then you have a quarterback that's so elusive, can extend plays every single down. When you look at Murray State, they are balanced, but they're not as flashy and electric, I would say, as Jacksonville State. And that doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean they're worse off than the Gamecocks. They just like to take things a little bit more slow, I would say. Not necessarily as flashy as Jacksonville State. The Racers are averaging 30.2 points per game, averaging 158 passing yards per game, 161.2 rushing yards per game. And again, guys, it's not very often that you see so many teams that we've discussed lately averaging more rushing yards per game than passing yards per game. So you're seeing a lot of teams that are winning these games and relying on winning the battles in the trenches to open up those holes and create opportunities for their running backs. Murray State, Jacksonville State, no exception to that. When you look at the Racers, they're really starting to click offensively, though. They have scored at least 31 points in each of their last 4 games. They only scored 14 points in their season opener, 24 points in the game after that. Since then, 31 points in every single game. That's extremely impressive. When you look at their players, Preston Rice, their quarterback, a little bit inconsistent, but he's getting the job done. 947 passing yards, 7 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. Has 223 rushing yards and 6 rushing touchdowns, though. Dual threat capability, just like Zion Webb. They also have a very dangerous running back in DeMonte Witherspoon. 474 rushing yards on the year, 5 touchdowns. The RPO that Murray State runs and has really taken college football by storm is very difficult to stop. It's a major reason for their offensive success over these last 4 games. So both teams here on the offensive side of the ball, guys, are playing a very similar style of ball. They like to ground it out on the ground. They like to pound it out on the ground, try to win the battle in the trenches. And I would say that if you're looking for a team that has the passing edge and has the quarterback edge, it is going to be the Gamecocks with Zion Webb over Preston Rice, who's completing just a little bit over 50% of his passes. When you look at the defense, again, we'll go back to Jacksonville State here. They're one of the best in the entire FCS. One of the best in the entire FCS. And again, we're just looking at the stats and the numbers from the 6 games they've played in this spring season. They're allowing 14.2 points per game. The most points they've allowed all year long was 23 points. They've allowed 183.3 passing yards per game. The big number I'm looking at here, though, is the fact they're allowing 54.7 rushing yards per game. That's ridiculous. Just a little over 50 rushing yards per game they've allowed through 6 games. On top of that, they have forced 11 turnovers. They've forced at least 1 turnover in every single game they've played so far. And my million-dollar question here for the Gamecocks is, will their run defense has been so stout all year long, force Murray State to pass? And like we just mentioned a second ago, if they make the Racers one-dimensional, will Preston Rice be able to get the job done? Again, he's completed just a little over 50% of his passes, only 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He's not that consistent. He's not that great. Is he going to be a guy that can really step up when they need him the most and carry his team to victory if the run game gets shut down? I don't know if he can be that guy. So that's the big number to watch out for. Will Jacksonville State's rushing defense remain as stout as it's been, or will Murray State exploit some things? When you look at the Racers and their defense, it's not bad either. They're allowing just 22.7 points per game, 171.5 passing yards per game. But the bad number, again, comes in that rushing area. They're allowing 165.5 rushing yards per game. So over 100 yards more that they're allowing on the rushing side compared to Jacksonville State. And again, the Gamecocks are averaging 214 rushing yards per game. So that's not a good sign. What's going to give there? Is Murray State going to wake up, force Jacksonville State to win the game through the air? Or the Gamecocks going to continue to have their way on the ground with the triple threat they have with their running backs in addition to Zion Webb at quarterback? The one positive thing I can say about Murray State, though, and the one advantage they've had on defense over Jacksonville State, is the fact they are forcing turnovers left and right. The Racers have forced 14 turnovers. 14 turnovers in 6 games. They have forced at least 3 turnovers in 4 of the 6 games they have played this year. So both teams do a fantastic job of taking the ball away from their opponents. It's going to be a matter of which offense can take advantage of those opportunities. If the defense is going to go out there and force turnovers, the offense has to capitalize on that. Which offense is going to be able to do that? That's the million-dollar question, because we will see some turnovers in this game with how stingy both of these defenses have been all year long. So our final outcome and our final prediction for this game, again, the Ohio Valley Conference Championship game on Sunday afternoon, not Saturday, Sunday afternoon. I think you know where we're going with this. We've got to go with Jacksonville State, the 10th ranked team in the country. And again, so many factors going into this. I do believe that Jacksonville State is a little bit more balanced. I believe they're more electric, they're flashier, and I think their defense is going to do just enough to slow Murray State down, again, to the point where they aren't going to be able to run the ball as effectively as they want, and that's going to require them to air it out a little bit more than they want. And I don't have faith in Preston Rice to go out there and win the game by himself. I don't have faith in the Racers to win the game through the air. Jacksonville State's defense is a little bit better. Murray State's rushing defense is a little suspect, going up against one of the best rushing offenses in the FCS. It just doesn't add up to me. So even though the game is on the road for the Gamecocks, I do believe they go on the road, win against Murray State, win by at least a touchdown, I should add, by at least a touchdown. And in doing so, they will become champions of the Ohio Valley Conference. They will finish the season at 6-1, and I feel like we've said this for a lot of teams over the course of our Game of the Week predictions, but I genuinely mean it this time too. Jacksonville State will be a force in the FCS playoffs here in just a few weeks. Do not sleep on the Gamecocks. So guys, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Share our videos. It helps grow our channel and spread the word of college football. I promise you won't regret it. And whoever you show this to will be so happy that you did it. So make sure to do that. Also share our brand new podcast. The Gridiron Expert Podcast is on every streaming platform out there. The links for all those things are in the description below. So go give that a listen. We have a new episode that just came out today. Promise you don't want to miss that, previewing the Big 12. So give that a listen, share it with everybody, help our podcast and our channel grow, become a part of the Gridiron Nation. I can promise you again, you will not regret it. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.